All right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stream. Another day, another stream. And today we have a very special occasion, a very special guest. You can see him on the left of your screen. Benny. Hello.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Hello, dude. Thank you for joining. So Benny is the former sports psychologist of Unicorns of Love. He was there the summer and the spring and the summer split of 2018, and he has some experiences that he wants to share with us. And yeah, I would say to begin with, you can introduce yourself and your experiences that you had in general.
Yeah, gladly. Thank you. So, hey, my name is Benny. I'm 24 from Heidelberg in Germany, and right now I'm doing my master's degree in psychology at the University of Tübingen. And like JJ said, 2018, I was at UOL doing an internship in the spring and summer split, and yeah, as in the function of a sports psychologist. So yeah, now my plan for the future is to finish my degree and to hopefully work again in the LCS or now LEC, and or if this doesn't work out in the near future, to gain more experience in sports psychology in general.
Well, what do we have here? All right, so yeah, hopefully you get your degree, and hopefully for me, you're gonna get taken by a team so that I can interview you again, or that we have a discussion again. That would be actually so cool. All right, so yeah, you said that you went to Unicorns of Love. When exactly did you go there? And I think you moved with them in the gaming house, right?
Yeah. So how it came to pass was basically that while studying psychology, of course, when the finishing the degree is coming closer, you need to think what to do with this. Yeah, with your education after the college life. So I started brainstorming and got the idea to actually apply for sports psychology and esports at some teams. So I just wrote some emails to different teams, and UOL were really, really open and interested, and gave me the chance to do an internship there. So in February 2018, I started the internship and lived in an apartment with one of the players, and then in the summer split I returned in May or something, and then I actually got to move in the gaming house and lived there until August.
Oh wow! So yeah, you've been living there for quite some time then in the gaming house. All right, that's
Yeah.
super interesting. That's really cool. So so me as a player, I'm playing solo queue all day long. It's just super interesting to know how is it a pro player life actually going, from the beginning to the end. What do they do? Do they actually just play League of Legends all day long, or do they go outside, play football? So what is their routine, their daily routines?
I mean, it's a lot of League of Legends. The prejudice that's it's playing League of Legends all day is actually not that wrong, but it's a lot different than many people think. So it's not like they're just sitting around having fun and playing all day and get to live of it, but it's actually really, really hard work for them. So yeah, basically they have to do League of Legends all day, every day. There's of course some space for free time and stuff like that, but actually it's a lot of League of Legends that they have to play or analyze, think about. Yeah.
Oh wow! So this, I mean, in theory, this sounds really cool. You get paid for playing League of Legends all day long, but if I think about it, it is, I don't know, maybe for me it is a bit, it could get too much for me, in my opinion. I mean, if it's just one topic that is it's even more than a full-time job. I mean, it's their life, right? I mean, football players, I think they have 4 hours of practice each day, and then they can do basically whatever they want to. I mean, of course they have some programs, but they don't have that much practice than a League of Legends player. And is it really true that that they scrim for 6 to 8 hours a day, or how much?
Yeah.
Is it?
Per day, it's approximately 6 games. So it's always 3 games, and after every game you have analysis and then like a break in the afternoon, and then you have another 3 games plus analysis after each game. So that's at least 6 or 7 hours. But then actually comes solo queue practice as well before and or after scrims to actually keep up with the meta, try out new stuff, see which champions are good, which item builds
Yeah.
are good, to actually get to know all the matchups. So yeah. And yeah, it's definitely double or triple the amount of time you have to spend to be a professional LoL player for training than compared to football or something.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, I mean, that's a lot of League of Legends.
Yeah.
Yeah. Talking now that we speak of the their everyday life, their routines. Do they have team routines that or team, how do you say it, rituals that they do together, like breakfasting together, eating breakfast together, eating lunch together, or eating dinner together? Is there to build the team together to get them keep them
Mhm.
together?
I think this is very much different in any team. Um, but I mean, since everyone is living in the same house, there's at least some elements that everyone is sharing. For example, the lunch break was for like everyone was eating together. So this at least, but also there were some team activities, watching movies, going to the cinema, participating in sponsorships, events, and stuff. But this was also one thing that we implemented at UOL when I was there, that we actually tried to do more with for the whole team together. So do like have breakfast together, do a morning walk together, do sports together, something like
Okay.
this.
So yeah, okay, that's pretty interesting because I was thinking about this, if they actually just live their lives all by their own, or if they have to do these things together as a team to be sticking together like glued. All right. Yeah, I hope they don't watch horror movies because I'm super afraid of those.
Oh, we watched a lot of horror movies
Oh
actually.
no. So
Yeah.
okay, I wouldn't be fitting for a pro player. So just because of that reason. Okay, so yeah, we have so many questions. I don't know what else we could talk about the everyday life, or if we should actually go to the next topic. I think
Yeah.
it is connected to each other.
Maybe one more thing. I'm not sure if I said this, but it's really important to state that with all the hard work that the guys need to put in to actually stay pro players, um, everyone I worked with was also at the same time really thankful that they got the chance to actually live off playing video games.
All right.
So
Okay.
while it's of course a tough job and a lot of work, um, yeah, every single one of them was really thankful that they actually could do this.
Yeah, this is true. This is what I was thinking about too. And interesting, because if this is the thing, right? If you actually have a job that you don't like going, that you don't
Mhm.
like having, your life quality is getting lowered by so much. So if you do what you love doing, it doesn't really matter how many hours you put in there because you actually enjoy doing it. So yeah, I can imagine that if you really love playing League of Legends, that this is a really nice job to have.
Yeah, I think so too. These amount of work hours are impossible if you don't like what you're doing.
Yeah, dude, if you don't like playing a league, you just do it for the money. I think this wouldn't be the perfect job for you. So yeah, it's not. If you do it for the money, I think you're wrong here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I would just ask you the next question here. How was it, or how is it? Is it working, or how is it? Working with such young, talented players and uprising stars, pretty much. Because I mean, let's face it, esports is growing a lot, and
Mhm.
players that become pros, they actually have a big fan base often. And they, you know, th- they might be looking down towards normal people from, a bit, I'm not really sure if this is true, but this is the risk for everybody who becomes famous, right? Um, Did you experience something like that? So they looked at you and they were like, "Hey, dude, I'm superior than you. You can't tell me anything," or you
I
know.
mean, it it's important to know that there's a lot of different kinds of pro players. So there's actually loads of differences between single players, and also in UOL to splits there were a lot of different characters. Actually, there were like these really experienced guys who, yeah, where I learned more from them than they actually did me. But also the guys who don't have a lot of experience, who are yeah, and who actually also maybe don't have too much knowledge about general stuff in life,
Yeah.
because all they did was go to school and then become a pro. So, um, and I think this was also a part where I could be, yeah, where I could help them or guide them to actually teach them something.
All right. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
pretty interesting. I mean, um, yeah. The thing is, if if you work with a person that is really inexperienced in life, and he actually doesn't really know that he has responsibilities now. I mean, this is becoming a pro player brings in a lot of responsibility too, right? So did you actually had this case often that you had to tell them, guys, look, we are a team. We have to work together as a team. You can't do random stuff. Or did you? I mean, you said that you actually helped a lot of players to lead them, or but were there more extreme cases where they didn't really want to accept the fact that they had a responsibility now being in a team?
Um, I mean, most of the guys were really like open and also, or yeah, pretty much every one of the five players and coaching staff was like really open to do what it takes to succeed as a team. And if yeah, some games weren't that great, or the two games on stage were not great or something, of course there can be some downsides in the mood or something.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, after all, the team always worked together, basically.
Okay, that's pretty cool. Good to know. All right, so no extreme cases, no really hard cases. This is actually pretty enjoyable. But, I mean,
Yeah.
we hear this from stars a lot that they actually treat others pretty badly. So it's really good to hear that it's not the case here in your experience so far though.
Yeah, I mean, while I mean, of course, myself as a hard stack gangplank top lane one trick, I don't get much respect for my LoL skills from pro
Yeah.
players, of course, because I'm just another guy, you know. But I felt like everyone in the team had some respect for everyone else in the team. Yeah, the pro players, of course, between each other, that, but also towards the management staff, towards the owner, towards me for different stuff. Is it education, expertise, and stuff other than gaming? So, yeah, all in all, everyone pretty much acknowledged that the other persons in the house can help them.
All
Yeah.
right. Yeah. That's pretty. This is really nice to see that they are helping each other out, or that they actually respect each other. Okay, let's go over to the next topic. I mean, yeah, we already mentioned it. You have been living with him in the gaming house. So my
Yeah.
question to you first is, what challenges did you personally have moving into gaming house? I mean, um, how can we picture it? How is a gaming house, structured? Do you have your own room? Or don't you have enough room for privacy? So this is maybe you can tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah. So as for challenges, one of the biggest challenges for me was move to Berlin,
Oh yeah.
basically, or pretty much to yeah, to go for it, you know, because I don't know any people in Berlin. It's really far away. I don't know guys there, and I have to commit to the gaming house or to the pro gamer lifestyle, which is yeah, really insane work rhythms where you start working at like, I don't know, 11, but depending on how long the game analysis or the games go, you're not done working before like 11 or 12. So
you
yeah,
start
that's
at 11 a.m. and stop at midnight sometimes?
yeah, this is not too seldom actually.
Oh, wow.
That scrim start at like 1 or something, so you want to go there earlier, maybe prepare some talks with the players to do before the scrims, or watch them while playing solo queue. Maybe there's something interesting to gain. Then you watch the scrim games, watch the communication, what they're how is it going basically. And then afterwards, for the post-game talks, yeah, you also, or I also wanted to be there. And then after the guys still play solo queue, and there's really not that much time to actually for me to have one-on-one talks with the players. So if it's after scrims or after scrims plus one solo queue game, it could be that it's actually 11 or 12.
Okay.
That I actually got to finish my day, of course, with a lot of flexibility and free time in between. But yeah, so adapting to this rhythm definitely was a challenge.
Okay, yeah. I can
But
imagine that.
yeah, it's fun. Like I wouldn't have committed to it if I didn't really want it, or found it really interesting and fun.
Yeah,
But yeah, to your other question. Privacy definitely is a hot topic in gaming house, because yeah, I mean, everyone who did a full-time job at some part knows that if you have the same people you have to work with all day every day, you are actually glad that you can like go home and
yeah.
see different people, or have time for yourself.
Close the
But
chapter.
yeah, just get some time off. But in the gaming house, it's actually not that easy, because yeah, all of your teammates and all of your boss lives in the same
Oh,
house as
yeah.
you.
Oh, boy.
Your sports psychologist lives in this, reading your mind all the time, lives in the same house as you. So it can be really tough to get some distance, especially since uh, everything today goes via internet and the PC, and the PCs of the players are in a kind of bureau office area. So after, in their free time, they oftentimes yeah, spend time in the same room. So yeah, having your own space, or having privacy is not too easy to get. I mean, of course, there's ways, like some people went to the gym in the morning and woke up before everyone else. Others stayed up late after everyone. You have your time windows where you are, of course, alone and by yourself. But it's definitely less privacy and free time than in other jobs.
Yeah. This. All right. Yeah. I would say for me this could actually be bothering me a lot to not because usually, in your jobs, whether you're a teacher, policeman, whatever, they I mean, this should be a psychological topic too, right? They usually teach you to not bring your problems or your work at home back home, right? To be able to close your mind, enjoy life, relax a bit. Yeah, I see this of being maybe a bigger issue than we get to see as fans, right? Because we don't really know what's happening at those gaming houses. And yeah, you already said that some people are going to the gym, but I mean, shouldn't there be done a bit more for this? Maybe just giving every player his own PC to be able to play, so they don't have to go into this into this room where everybody is staying. Or do you think it's fine and the players learn to live with it? Do you think it's fine the way it is, or should it be a bit more worked on?
I mean, every team does it differently, and
Yeah.
there's also pros. And so if the team is great together, living in the same house, and also your free time with each other, can maybe actually help to bring the team closer together and to help build the team. But at the same time, a word that comes up lately a lot is work-life balance. So keeping your work life and your private life in balance and separated. So there's actually more and more gaming houses where there's only an office area and the players live by themselves however
Okay.
they want to. So yeah, there's maybe a clash of philosophy or like it's changing. I believe that, for example, in NA, I think it's more common now that the players have apartments on their own. But of course, you have to look for the teams for you can't give every player every person 2 PCs or 3 PCs in every room of the house. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
So
You're right. That's a financial topic as well. But I think now that I think about it, it's actually not that bad to have everybody in this controlled environment, because I think if the chemistry is right, if if the people understand each other well, and if they on a social base, on a social level, I think they could actually have its benefits as well, since you can help them out more. You have the sports psychologist. If they have a problem, they can talk to you. It's easier. They're not alone. And I think for players, if they move to another country, for example, or to another city, it's risky of them being completely alone. And the feeling is you have your friends if you like your teammates. So it's actually not bad. Yeah, true.
Yeah, for sure. It has a lot of upsides.
Yeah.
I mean, luckily in UOL, the players really got along well with each other, and there wasn't like bad blood or like a lot of arguments or drama between players. But I can also imagine in a team where it's not going too well and you have like big egos clashing and like daily arguments and drama, then it can be really toxic to live in the same place as well.
And then your job as psychologist gets really
Then
difficult, really
yeah,
hard.
then
You have to work for your money then. I guess the way I
maybe
picture it, a Unicorns of Love, everybody just loves each other. You're sitting behind them, dude. It's a really really good job. You're doing fine. You're doing good.
it's actually like this.
What, really?
I mean, it's professional, but the mood in the team and the chemistry was really positive
Wow,
and really cool.
that is
Yeah.
nice to hear, especially because Unicorns of Love has a big fan base. I think, where
Huge.
especially in the
Great fans
studio,
as well.
in the studio in Berlin, so many Unicorns of Love fans were there, and it's
Yeah.
nice to see that it has been like that. It's not just not just a front, not just a show. It's really like that. So it's actually really cool to see that. To hear.
Yeah, shout out to the Love Hurts crew.
Love
Now
hurts.
that the Love Hurts crew is actually the fan base or it's a EV, so it's signed in community, which is the UOL fan club officially.
Oh.
And they were there every week, every day of every game day, and yeah, the support was really huge. And
Oh.
I'm glad to see that the fan club still exists, although UOL didn't make it in the franchise sadly.
Oh, it still exists?
Yeah, as far as I know, they still exist and will support other projects besides the LCS team
Yeah.
of Unicorns.
All right, that's cool. Okay, now I really like how this is going. It's actually super. I'm super hyped as well because I want to know so much about this. I'm super interested in this topic. Okay.
Yeah, I
so-
mean, I like to talk, so
yeah, you like talking, so yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, something that I've been thinking about quite often is, esports is often being compared to regular sports, traditional sports like football, basketball. On your point of this, as with your education so far, what do you think are the differences and maybe the similarities to traditional sports and yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a great question, and it comes up often. And I think it's really important to discuss this for the future of. So maybe it's always easier to start with the similarities. So what's actually really comparable between esports and traditional sports? And the most important thing is that it's a competitive system. So it's a system where the players or the pro gamers or pro athletes have to be professional, have to compete, have to work harder than other people. Yeah, at the highest level, you have to keep working and keep improving if you want to stay there. You have to train a lot. You have to work harder than others. You have to push yourself. Also, to this belongs that you have to be really open towards your weaknesses, and there's also a distinction between maybe a pro player and a casual gamer or something, that you actually can't go around your weaknesses. So, for example, if you're a casual gamer and you're, I don't know, you're really shit at last hitting or something, then I mean you go in the jungle, or you play support, or you play, I don't know, any, and you every game, and you hit every last hit because the queue makes it so easy or something. As a pro player, they just ban any, and then what do you do? So you actually can't afford to go around your weaknesses. So I think that's really something that's comparable between traditional sports and esports. Yeah, but also a lot of the struggles that you have to watch out to keep your work-life balance. For example, you lose in a competition, you lose a game, maybe you lose your starting spot, and this can really like destroy your self-confidence if you're not in professional hands, or if you don't learn how to deal with stuff like this. You have to perform under pressure. The pressure in competitive environments is actually insane, both for a football player going on a field with like 60,000 viewers, but also on a pro gamer who goes into who plays a game of League on stage with like 200 viewers or something, but tens of thousands viewers online, and then afterwards, there's a Reddit thread about how shit you played when you played like shit. So how to deal with this is it's a big challenge for both traditional athletes and esport athletes.
So yeah, criticism, I guess, is a huge thing that you have to be able to deal with, and even if it's not professional criticism, right? Even if fans are bashing on you because you played bad one game, and they say, oh, this guy is so bad, why is he in this team? What are ways that you can live with it or cope with it? Do you just skip the internet for a week, or do you never go on Reddit, or what is the solution? How can you manage this?
I mean, this is a tough question. It's maybe one of the greatest sports psychology in modern time. I think actually just not going on Reddit might be a solution if you're a person that really can't handle this well, which is completely understandable, because I don't know if I could deal with something like this. So yeah, I think every player is different. There might be players who don't care at all what others say about them online, who are like maybe even self-conscious and laughing about the Reddit thread with 2,000 upvotes stating that he plays without hands or something. But there might also be players that that actually takes something like this to heart, even if they know that most of the guys on Reddit don't have a clue what they're talking about. So yeah, this is definitely a tough one, which I would, if I would counsel a player who would struggle with this, I would actually do it really individually, and look what bothers the player about this, and what might be a good solution. Is he a guy who needs to go on Reddit 24/7 every day because it's actually super important to him what other people think of him, and he can't just not notice it? Or is it a guy who doesn't care much about this? then it might be a good idea to not just ignore it maybe. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, you would just take a lot of time, I guess, and a lot of work, but that's why you're here.
Yeah.
That's why when you get, when you get to do your job. Um, I mean, I can imagine that this is super difficult for players because everything you do, even if you just play solo queue games, it is publicly. If I play a
Yeah.
game right now, even if I play badly, nobody would care. But if you are a pro player and you feed in one of your games, it is happening publicly. A lot of people will notice this. So yeah, this is something. Maybe even you're more exposed than I think traditional sports, maybe even in esports, because everybody has access to your private account, to your
Yeah, for
match
sure.
history.
If you're hard stuck in low master as a pro player, everyone, and if you can't play Yasuo and feed your ass off every time you play Yasuo top lane or something, everyone will know it, and your enemy team will know it, and yeah, it's a public word.
Yeah, the exposure I think
Yeah.
is tough. It is not easy. Not easy. Okay. Yeah. Now, uh, that was similarities
Yeah.
and yeah. Okay. Now that we talked about everything being public, that you have to work so much. Maybe you could talk a little bit about the health and the risk of being addicted to video games or to League of Legends specifically, and you know how have you experienced it? Do you think that pro players are addicted? Do you think they could stop playing for a week, or do you think they would actually start freaking out if they weren't able to play anymore?
I think actually most pro players wouldn't mind at all to stop playing League for a month. Be welcome for them as a change, because if you have to, I mean, for a pro player, it's not anymore that he or she wants to play, but they have to because it's their job. So
Yeah.
if you get the freedom of actually not playing without consequences, of course, many pro players just even if they don't want to play, will play to stay at their level or something. But actually, I think at this level, addiction is not too much of a problem anymore, but
Okay.
more so burnout. So the opposite, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was what I was talking about when I mentioned health. I think burnouts could be a huge problem, right? In League of Legends, as in esports or in esports in general, and since you have much more hours than you put in in a normal regular job. If you say it in Germany, you work for 8 hours, then you go home. You can do whatever you want to. In League of Legends, you just in the ELEC right now, you have
Yeah.
to play so much to compete with the best, and you have the pressure. I imagine this to be. It can actually you could actually crack under this pressure, right? You could actually burn out because you have to be good. You want to win games. And yeah, is there the risk of burnout? Is it really that high? How I imagine it to be, or is it?
Yeah, I think it's actually the biggest danger for pro players.
All right.
I mean, for pro players that they have to handle, or that might be a big problem. And yeah, I'm pretty sure there's also a lot of pro players by now stopped because they were burned out. Yeah, like for example, I think Dyrus from former TSM talked about this pretty publicly, that yeah, at some point he didn't really, he couldn't motivate himself anymore to at the highest level, to handle the criticism and the pressure. And yeah, at some point he just asked himself pretty much, why do I still do this if I don't enjoy it at all anymore? So yeah, I think burnout is a huge topic for pro players in esports, and it's also pretty difficult to handle with the training environment that is pretty much play league all day every day. So yeah, I think to prevent this, or to do some prophylaxis, it's actually really important that you get a good structure for your training. The same you could say about learning players or casual players, whereas for learning players the danger is not really burnout but addiction, basically.
Yeah.
So if you enjoy the game immensely, you obviously you might enjoy it more than going to school or going to university or something. The risk of addiction is really there. So I think structure is like the most important thing to get there. So to get yourself maybe a schedule for pro players. A schedule is should be mandatory pretty much, to force yourself pretty much to take some time off to do something else for a change, to have another hobby besides league that you follow, like doing sports is probably the best for your physical health as well, but also it might be something with friends or taking time off and doing something else that also defines you as a person is really helpful and really important.
All right, yeah. I mean, I've seen now the LEC teams, they're preparing slowly for the new split, and I've seen on Twitter already so many pictures of teams actually going to the gym, doing fitness exercises, eating healthy. I think that this actually changed in the last few years. I don't think that there was so much focus on this topic 5 years ago than it is right now, and it is important to realize this. I think, especially if you are a player who plays solo queue, you're not in a pro team, but people that play casually, sometimes they play too much and they even perform worse. They because of this, of playing all the time and playing on autopilot, just trying to climb and not actually looking at their health and their mental health.
This is a common mistake that most of the league players, and also this is my guess at least, a lot of the pros, that I mean your practice should always be goal oriented. You should never go into a game of league just because playing league, because like that you're not going to improve much. So 3 hours of, or 2 to 4 hours of really focused and goal oriented training should, or is actually going to improve you more than maybe 8 hours playing just solo queue. Lose a game, go into next queue, win a game, go into next queue without thinking. You pick the same champion every game. You don't even remember which champions are in the game after 10 minutes or something like this. This is not going to do much of an improvement for you, probably.
Okay, yeah, this is interesting. So the solo queue players out there, if you want to become better, listen to Benny here. Don't play too much. Keep your focus up and actually try to improve, right? You said that it's important to set specific goals, right, that you want to improve on.
Really important for these goals. They are controllable by you. So, for example, it would be a bad goal to set that you say, today I want to reach, I don't know, I want to gain 100 LP today, or I want to climb into the division today, or I want to win 5 games today, because this is actually not controllable by you alone.
My teammates, they are always so bad. Riot, I mean, please.
You can always get a guy with a bad internet who's tilted to hell and just playing badly. Maybe you yourself a bad game, or maybe in the enemy team there's a smurfer and he's just smashing you. Stuff like this can happen, and it's not in your hands. So your goals should really be controllable. Like, this is my weakness, or this is the stuff I want to improve on, and I think that this is a way to improve this, and then you should yeah, look or watch yourself that this is actually the point where you are performing.
Okay. So to recap, it's important to set goals that you can actually, you say controllable. Let me find another word for it. That are not manipulative from others from outside.
Yeah,
That
yeah, they
only
should be
you
independent from.
independent. Yeah, true.
Yeah.
From the matchmaking. Okay. So having the goal of winning is in general bad, because setting the goal of winning
That's
only. Let's say this: if you just play for winning, is this a good thing, or is it considered bad?
you should always play for winning.
Okay.
More important than game that you, because in the you don't
You have
want
to
to
repeat that
improve to
one
win.
because your voice got cracked.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
So your goal every game should of course be to win the game, but you should think about the long run. So improving is more important than winning a game. So
Alright.
for example, yeah, if you win one game, congratulations, you just won a game, but did you actually get better? So it's better than to lose 5 games and actually improve something or practice something in them and getting better with it, because then in 1 week you will be a better player and you will have more success in the long run. Yeah. So a
Alright.
single game should not be as important as your improvement.
Okay, so as an analogy, it is better to play the champion you really want to play and improve with him. For example, right now, it's better than picking something that is completely OP right now and you just play it to win the games and to have an easy time winning and climb higher.
That's a tricky question. I mean, it can also be a goal to climb. This is a fine goal because it's mostly up to you if you climb or not. But it's important to realize that it's up to you in the long run and not in every single game. You can't expect to win every single game because it's not entirely up to you. But
Yeah.
if you perform good in 100 games, you will win more games than you lose. So you will climb. Yeah. So, I mean, for the champions, it's there's a distinction to make if you play the game. If you play the game to climb as high as you can and to compete as good as you can, picking up the broken meta champions is a must do. But if you play for having fun and or you play also for playing a variety of roles and champions, I think it's more important to play what you actually want to play. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty good. Good to know for me because I want to climb as well. Yeah, it is interesting. I mean, I can imagine that many people have asked themselves, these kind of questions. Is it better to just play all day long and get practice, or is it better to get this quality practice? And I think you've said it pretty nicely that it's much better to have this quality practice over than the quantity. So
yeah, of course, only if you actually give it your all. If it's because goal oriented practice is more stressful, of course, than just autopiloting solo queue. So if you just play to have fun, I don't see a point in limiting yourself to only focused training if you actually don't want to if you actually just want to enjoy.
But I mean, we were speaking about the climbing, getting better.
Yeah, of course.
Becoming a pro player.
Yeah.
So I still have time for it. I mean, I'm 24. I have this session with you now, and tomorrow I'm just gonna jump straight into the solo queue.
Right. That's a bold prediction, but I wish you best of luck.
Okay, so let us talk a bit about your role as a sports psychologist. So your role in terms of how did people see you in the gaming house? Were you the father person? Could the players come towards you with their problems? So yeah, my girlfriend broke up with me yesterday. I'm not feeling very well. Can you help me, father? Or were you more like the friend, or were you more like the, respectable person?
I mean, most of the players called me daddy, so no, no, no. I mean, that's actually a good question because it was insanely different for every player and also coaching staff. For some, it was like the friend or the colleague. For others, I was yeah, like something like a mentor, like a person to go to get to to go to when you have a problem or to get help from. Um, but for others, I was like not a mentor person or something because they actually at least one player had a really professional mindset already and had experience in working with sports psychologists. And yeah, I mean, I'm not going to be a father figure or something for someone who has more experience than me. So yeah, but yeah, most of this came in the one. Every week I had at least one talk with one player um, in a closed room, so confidential, of course, and yeah, depending on the player, depending on the problems, depending what was up at this point of time, we talked about a lot of stuff about different problems, about um, good stuff, about bad stuff, about maybe some maybe they wanted something to change in the team environment. Then I'm kind of go-to guy because I'm a neutral element in the team. So I'm neither completely I'm neither going to run to Sheepy and tell him to kick a dude from the team because he said uh, something critical about the coaching, and neither am I going, I don't know, run to the players if Sheepy wasn't happy with the performance at the coaching session or something. So I try to be a neutral guy in the middle for to fulfill my role as a sports psychologist, to be a person that everyone can talk to whenever they need to. Yeah.
Okay, so you're the solid, neutral middle ground.
Yeah, I try to be uh, the mediator, so to speak.
Mediator. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that that can be. It can be, it can be a nice job to have, but can this also be a lot of pressure on you if they
Oh,
have.
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If there's a bad mood or like someone is not happy with how things are going, and I'm the go-to guy, then uh, there might be points in time where I have to do an important decision and to for myself decide, okay, do I what do I do now? Because I can't do some decisions. I'm not authorized to kick a player or
Yeah.
to uh, like, not that any of the players needed to be kicked. Like, they were all great guys. Or I'm not the guy who decides, okay, we do this and differently now. So as such a neutral element in the team or a mediator, you really have to be careful which informations you give to whom, and yeah, because you don't want to create arguments or to you also don't want to hurt confidentialism
Mm-hmm.
of your relationship with the player. So if a player says, I don't know, just the food here sucks, I'm not going to go to the cook. This guy said the food here sucks, and then the food was great, by the way. But
Oh, really?
yeah, it was actually good. Matthias, the team manager, cooked, and it was good. But yeah, I'm not going to be the guy, snitches on the player, and then the cook goes, or the manager goes to the player and says, what the F did you say about my cooking? And then, you can't do it like this, but you have to be careful.
Yeah.
It's diplomacy in a sense.
Yeah, diplomacy, true. That's a good word for it. You have to find your way of, I would say, bringing over the message without giving away too much information, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Confident. It needs to be confident, and the players feel anonymous if they tell criticism or.
So you can't, after you have one session with one player the whole day, you can't go to the cook the next day and say, all right, I had a session with the player yesterday. I'm not gonna say the name. He doesn't like your food. He wants more pizza. This is not tasty, right? So you have to be really careful about how you proceed.
Yeah, in a case like this, let's just stick with the cooking example.
With the cooking.
But maybe let's phrase it less negative. Say the cooking is too good. It's
too good.
Distracting from improving. So one player comes to me and says, "Man, the cooking is insane. I just can't focus on playing the game." And then probably what I would do is talk to the other players as well and see if it's a problem only for one player or it's actually a problem for like 3 or 4 players, or maybe for everyone in the team. And then if I know this, I can go to maybe depending on the situation, to the guy who's cooking amazingly, or I go to like the boss or to the coach or analyst or whatever, and I can give a reflection of the team about this topic. Like I found out the last few days that actually a lot of players are distracted by the food. So, and then I can make a suggestion. Maybe it would be a solution. Lower the food quality every second day, and then we can work it out together.
All right, that's really interesting. I didn't think of it in that way. So yeah, if the food is too good, you can't play good enough. So tell your moms not to make too good food. If you want to become a pro player. Now this is really, I really haven't thought about this. It is interesting that you collect information from every player, every individual, and then you have to decide on your own, right? If is it worth, attacking this issue. So yeah, you actually have to do a lot there. Okay, it's interesting. Okay, let's get over to the next topic here. We have all right. So typically this is not my favorite topic, talking about stereotypes, but I mean, let's face it, gamers just have the stereotype of being introverts and socially awkward, maybe even. So I mean, I'm not that introverted, but can you even say that? But I mean, the stereotype is still there, and I really have to ask you this: has your experience, proved proved the stereotype to be right? Are pro players actually introverts? Are they difficult, or is it difficult for them to talk to other players? Social conversation, social relationship.
Yeah. So before I answer this, I have to say that my limited, because I only work with pro players.
Oh, you're muted for this. You have to repeat.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
Before I answer, I have to say that I worked with 5 or 6 different pro players.
Okay.
So my view, of course, is limited, but I mean, you get some insight from like interviews or like these gaming house reality shows, or like the content that the teams put out. You can get some idea, and I mean the prejudice for sure isn't true. I would say not every gamer, not every pro gamer is like so PC all day. can't talk to others looking at their feet all the time. Most of them are just, people like normal dudes like you and I, who just happen to be insane at gaming. They started early, or they really had a lot of fun, and then they kept improving and got lucky and found a team or something. So yeah, most of the guys are completely normal dudes. But of course, there's a lot of interpersonal differences. So every player is different. Of course, there are also the really introverted guys that fit into this prejudice of gamers. But as well, there's the really open guys, the funny guys. If Mike checks of G2 Gaming, for example, they're joking and laughing loudly, and this is not completely introverted or something.
Yeah, true.
So yeah.
Okay, so now that we have this swept out of the way, we can keep going. But I mean, I imagine that it can be difficult for you, right? If you are an introvert. I mean, this is a trait that a person can have. It's not a bad trait, right? It's just it's their feature. So if you are, if you don't have a nice easy time talking to other people, is this a criteria for teams to not take you, or do teams actually want to have people that are able to talk a lot, especially in the games? And is there a connection to this, right? If they're introverts in real life, do they is there a connection to the how they play in the game? Do they talk a lot in the game, or is this a different thing?
I think this it might actually affect your chances of getting picked up by a team. It depends, of course, what the team is looking for. If the team is, for example, really looking out to create a team with good chemistry and between the players, and this is more important for them than, like, you don't want the best mechanical player, but you want the player that fits in the best with the team. Then it might actually be good not to take the loud, a lot of talking guy with the big ego, because it might not be in line with another player on your team that also has a big ego and wants to do the shot calling, for example. But on the same time, if you're looking for a shot caller who leads your team, and you have this really gifted, good young upcoming shining player that doesn't talk at all, then he's not going to be a good fit for the team. And yeah, definitely also reflects in your gameplay. I felt like the guys that had an easy time talking, or that liked talking, that talked a lot from their own, they were also generally the guys that talked a lot in game, while the guys that were more silent and not so outgoing, not so extroverted, so to speak, they were also the guys that didn't do the most talking in game.
Okay.
So there definitely is some kind of connection there.
All right. And now if you notice that you want to become a pro player, and you have this issue that you can't really, you can't really talk to others freely. You have I don't know, you have an issue with it because it exists. Some people have this. Is it possible to work on that, or or do you have to accept your fate and say, okay, it's done, I'm not gonna play in a pro team? Can you work on this?
Yeah, for sure, you can work on this. I mean, you don't have to change your be able to become a pro.
Or you don't have to change what?
You don't have to become a completely different person to change your whole personality.
Yeah.
That's not necessary, and shouldn't affect your chances at all. I mean, every person is different, and it's important that you are happy with yourself.
Yeah.
But at the same time, especially if it comes to something like taking criticism, talking in game, like expressing criticism as well, working together with different people, communicating your in-game and stuff like this. This is actually really important to do, and but you are definitely able to work on this. Most of this stuff is like, I don't know. Most of the stuff is like learning mechanic as a champion, just practice it. So,
Okay.
for example, if you have trouble communicating in game because it distracts you or something, you can try to do a queue with a friend or to stream. Streaming is actually a good way to practice this, and yeah, by this you will start to talk while playing all the time, and then slowly you will get better at communicating while playing.
Okay. Yeah, so that's really nice. You actually can become a pro player. You don't have to change your complete person.
Yeah.
It's important to be happy with yourself, but you can always improve on yourself as well, right? That's what you just basically said.
Yeah,
And,
especially if on these parts that are important.
yeah, so yeah, it's the parts that are important for playing in a team, of course. Okay, so on another topic, this is we're getting to the end. So by the way, Chad, if you have any questions, you can ask them at the end. We're gonna do an open question round, but we're gonna continue here. The next question would be, this is something I have actually experienced in my life a lot of times, and I've never had this super important games, the choking and not being able to handle pressure, because for me personally, this is a big problem. Every time that I play an important game, or against a good opponent or something, I never perform as good as I usually do. I always perform worse, and this is something that has been bothering me a lot. And is this a problem for pro players as well? If they go to the stage for the first time, or maybe every time they go on stage, does this impact them? Do they have a problem with that, or does this boost them? Maybe, I mean, some people take energy from it, right?
For sure, that's also one of the most important topics for sports psychologists to tackle in esports, because that's something that every pro player will have to tackle earlier or sooner or later. So, for example, there's known to be players that are scrim gods. For example, Golden Clue from Cloud9 and NA is known to style and smurf on everyone in scrims, but then he for a long time he had trouble showing up on stage and actually performed poorly in a lot of games on stage. But for other guys, it might be the other way around, that they are actually not not styling on other people in scrims, but then on stage they get the kick that they need and they completely destroy everybody. So really important is to realize what's the case for you. So like you said, kind of watch yourself, how you perform under pressure, and then try to find out, when do you perform best? Is it if you're relaxed, if it's no high stakes, if it's just you alone in your room, or do you actually perform best when maybe there's 100 people watching? And if you just bet your car on the win, maybe perform best. You need to realize what kind of performer you are. So there's a theory in sports psychology that there are individual zones of optimal functioning, so that for every person there's on a scale from low activation and low excitement, high activation, that there's somewhere ideal zone for you in which you perform your best. So try to find out when you perform best, and then if you found out, there's actually some techniques you can try out to kind of manipulate your own body to show a high or low excitement. For example, when you play best when you're really calm and There's some relaxation techniques, breathing techniques, meditation that you can do for a game to calm down, and then you're closer to your zone of optimal functioning. But if you maybe perform best when you're like really hyped and excited, maybe you can do some sports before a game, do some push-ups, run around your house for like 10 times, and then your heart is pumping like crazy and you will perform better. So this is actually some stuff that can help with handling pressure.
Okay. So yeah, breathing techniques for getting a relaxed environment. Is this connected to psychology? Do you do this, breathing activities with the players as well? Is this your particular job, or do you have like physiotherapists for that, or
I don't know how it is in like, I mean, there are really big teams that have everything, that have a personal cook, a personal trainers, and guys like this. Maybe it's different, but for me, if the players were interested in something like this, it was my job to teach them or to help them do this. Yeah, but some of the players already did it. For example, Colt, the jungler. If you watch some videos of the games, always before champion select, he closed his eyes and did some breathing exercises. You can see it every game, basically, when the camera is on him. So he already did this before I needed to tell him, for example.
Oh wow! So wow, that's pretty cool. I've never noticed this, but it's nice to see that players know the issue too. That they know how to respond to it, and yeah, that you can help them out here. Really important. Really important. I think should not be ignored. I think it's even the case for people that play solo queue. If they get to their gold promo games and they feel the pressure and they just play super bad. So the next time, make sure you guys know what kind of type you are, and then either hype yourself up or not, or relax.
Also really helpful is can be something like certain type of song that makes you calm, for example, or your favorite song. And if you listen to this before your game to get ready, this can also be just a helpful pre-performance routine. Something you do before every game, and then also before every important game. Something like this can give you a lot of security as well.
Okay. All right. Well, we have gone through this pretty nicely. It was a super cool discussion so far, and I would say, as a for the ending here, maybe you can give us, as a conclusion of your whole experience, traits a pro player should have, and features, like what should a pro player have?
Yeah, so that's a good one. I mean, of course, you need to have some level of skill. If you don't have this, you don't even get the chance of becoming a pro player. But actually, there's a lot of people with high mechanical skill or high skill in LoL, but there's only a few who get to be a successful pro player. And I think most importantly is your competitiveness, so your will to give everything and win the game, your readiness to improve and to push yourself, and this one is really important, to push yourself out of your comfort zone. We talked about this earlier for a little bit, but actually you need to reflect and realize what you can improve about your play, and be willing to not only work on the stuff that you do good already, but to tackle your weaknesses as well. And this is some kind of another quality that you should have if you want to become a pro player, which is openness, I think. So openness for teammates to learn from others, learn from the weird sports psychology guy, learn from your coach, be ready to learn the meta. Let's say ADCs are dying out and everybody plays Heimerdinger in 6 bot lane. If you want to be a pro player, you will have to adapt and be open to learn this to compete on the highest level. So yeah, I would say competitiveness, the readiness, and openness.
Okay, this is super cool. Okay, so everybody, once again towards you. You see, you heard that now. It's your chance. You have the best input here from our sports psychologist. So Benny, I've heard that you play in a university team.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so you play in a university team. I've read this. I have my sources.
You have your which sources?
It's me.
Ah.
No, we play together, and do you think that smaller competitions like the University League or the German ESL League, are they a good way of preparing for the big one, the LEC? Is this a good thing, or do you think it's a waste of time?
I think it's 100% a good start, because only in solo queue you improve a lot of stuff and practice a lot of important stuff, but you won't learn how to work with a team and how to really improve as a team and tackle your weakness as a team, improve your strengths as a team, work with others, make compromises, get criticism. In solo queue, you don't get criticism. You get
Flame.
Either you get question mark pings when you die, or you get told to, I don't know, to uninstall League if you play bad. But it's actually really rare that you get, like, there you should freeze the wave and
Constructive.
maybe play in this. Yeah, exactly. Like useful tips are really, really rare in solo queue. So this is definitely something that is better in a team environment.
Okay. So yeah, that's what I thought too. But I mean, you never know. Sometimes it might be some people might think that it is a waste of time to join a team when it's not the big team, right? Because you have to not insert, you have to spend a lot of time in these kind of teams. But it's nice to hear from you that it's actually really helpful for you, for your for your development as a person as well, I guess. Since you talk to people, you have to accept criticism, you have to give criticism. Giving criticism, I think, is actually pretty difficult too, since you don't want to offend the other person, but you have to sometimes. You have to say what's going wrong. I think this is a good way of learning that too, and this is pretty cool so far. I like it a lot. I would say this was the conclusion as well. Pretty cool so far. Thank you so much for being here, Benny. And I would
thanks
say
for having me. It's an honor for me.
It is an honor for me too. I was so excited for this. I was really, really hyped as well because these things are actually super interesting for me as well. You don't read that much about it because that they want to keep it private, and I can understand that, but it's nice to have the input. So yeah, that's pretty cool. All right, so let's go to the chat now. Apex Junior says, Benny, I'ma follow you on Twitter.
Nice. Thank you, Apex Junior.
Nice. Okay, so guys, you have the chance of giving us your questions, and Benny is hopefully going to answer them. Okay, cool stuff. Supposed to be the one set. Night Baron 111412. How much of your work has been specific to esports? For example, playing on stage, focusing on specific goals, compared to more general psychological tasks, group cohesion, work-life balance?
This is a good question from a really good guy. He's a really cute person.
Do you know him?
And
nice.
Hey, yeah, he's my best friend, so to speak.
Oh, thanks for the sub, by the way.
Yeah, he subbed you. Holy shit. That's the support, man. I mean, this is a tough question because the group cohesion or the general psychological tasks in the gaming house are always influenced by the professionalism, by the playing games. I don't think I can't remember a time where I offered advice or another perspective on something that wasn't in some way related to league or to being a pro, to perform on stage. And this is, of course, the main purpose for me working as a sports psychologist, to help the players perform at their best. So yeah, I would say at least 70% is actually really only specific to esports.
Okay. Yeah, I have. I mean, we don't have a question right now in the chat, but I have a question for you as well. We talked about your role earlier, but you know, my question is that when the players play solo queue, are you actually there and watching them play, and I don't know, maybe giving them tips of not to tilt in this specific situation? You see this is just or actually not to get too high with their, or too strong with their emotions. Do you actually do this when they play solo queue too, or do you leave them alone?
Not really. I think it I can only imagine that it would be annoying as hell to have someone standing behind you, even when you play solo queue, and if you spam a question mark ping to tell you to stop because it's not professional. I think this would be impossibly annoying. So no, most of the time I mean, not often I watched the guys play solo queue, but most of the time I was in the same room, maybe doing some research or working on something else, working on a talk maybe, and I got the general atmosphere solo queue training. This is what I could observe, but I didn't. I tried not to annoy people and criticize them for playing how they play.
Okay, this is interesting.
Yeah,
I think
actually sometimes when I noticed, for example, that someone was really playing solo queue, like not focused, that they are watching a movie at the same time, or tabbing out all the time, just auto queuing, then I would maybe in the talk address this and talk about how the solo queue training is, if they are focused, if maybe if they can do something else. But yeah, I wasn't standing behind them and watching them play 24/7.
Whispering in their ear,
yeah,
don't do this. This is not nice. All right, no, this is interesting. I love it. I love it so much. Yeah, cool to see that. I mean, your position is clear here. You are the one who takes care of the players, but not you don't go too far. If you see something out of the ordinary, then you intervene. But
I mean, I want them. It's so important that they have. If they play solo queue in their that this should be respected, that they just play solo queue.
If they want to play solo queue, okay, you give them their space. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, supposed to be the one has a question. He says he couldn't agree more with breathing before the game. Are there any other anti-stress techniques you are familiar with or seen?
Something I picked up, and I actually taught, I think, 2 or 3 of the players, is the progressive muscle relaxation technique, which is basically, I mean, it's similar to a breathing technique, but a little more intense, so to speak. I think you can actually look it up really easily on that. It basically works like this, that you focus your mind on different parts of your body, and then you build tension in your muscles, hold it for some seconds, and afterwards, and then you go to the next body part, do the same, and so on. And with that, do some breathing techniques. So this actually takes like 10 to 20 minutes. So it takes a lot more time than just a breathing technique, but it actually is more relaxing. And other than that, meditation or like some basic forms of meditation are also pretty easy to do.
Okay. I hope this answers your question. And yeah, let's get to. I mean, if you want to, you can pick one question as well. Otherwise, I'm just gonna pick them. We have two more questions here. How much could you profit from traditional sports psychology, literature, and models? Was it easily applicable to esports as well? That's a good one.
Yeah, and that's actually what you have to do if you want to professionalize in the esports psychology field, because there's no research on esports psychology. There's only research on sports psychology. There are no theoretical models on sports psychology. It's only sports psychology. So you pretty much have to educate yourself about traditional sports psychology and then see what's adaptable or what you can use in esports as well, which is a lot, but not everything. For example, I think about 1/3 or half of the research traditional sports psychology is also about the health of sports and how like doing sports as a therapeutic, as doing sports as therapy, which is not applicable to esports.
Yeah, true.
But most of it certainly is. The basic principles are certainly useful in esports.
Okay. That's pretty new topic, right? Just little research, I think, as you said. You don't have that many people with a lot of experience in this field, and it can be a big challenge, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, there's also helpful if you're interested in esports psychology. You probably know Weldon Green, one of the most present sports psychologists in esports in the internet. He has some pretty informative podcasts, for example, that are more specific. But yeah, it's certainly limited to what you can learn about esports psychology.
All right. Let's get to the third question. Or fourth, I'm not really sure, but let's go. Apex Junior asks, what's your approach to dealing with someone that claims they tilt? And what do you think tilt is? I have my own methods and ideas for it, but I'd like to know what you think about it. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, that's actually a really important question in esports as well that we actually didn't tackle before. So tilt, I think, is just an internet term, so to speak, for frustration. So almost every time when you tilt, you're frustrated. And I think in learning to deal with this, it's important to learn to deal with emotions. And one of the easiest or one of the ways to go in learning how to deal with emotions is to understand emotions. So understand that emotions are natural and happen to everybody, that to understand why you're getting frustrated. And in League, you're only getting frustrated because either you play poorly or your teammates play poorly, and this frustrates you because the game is important to you. You really want to win. So it's helpful to understand that tilting is not necessarily something bad, but is a normal reaction to a certain state of the game because the game is important to you. And yeah, also important to understand that I'm sorry, while you can't directly influence your emotions, like you can't just say, for example, okay, I tilt, now I don't tilt, and then you don't tilt. This is not how it works. But what you can do is influence your behavior. So yeah, you can work on how you handle your behavior following an emotion. For example, you can watch that you don't insult someone or flame in chat, because this is actually entirely up to you and not to others. If you actually flame in chat or not, this is only your responsibility, and you should know that this is not helping you improve. So you should try to basically you should try to react to emotions in a way that will help you become a better player. So for example, if you tilt because a teammate of you is dying, you can tell them what they need to hear to stay in the game and to keep playing the best. For example, it's fine, you outscale, or our win condition is still, we can still win over top lane, just play safe or something. So you can influence your behavior. Via influencing your behavior, you can limit the influence, the negative influence can have on you.
Yeah. So basically, how you deal with those emotions, right?
Yeah.
How you deal with them. Not. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, it's just human. Everybody has emotions. But I guess you can influence how you deal with them. That's good. Let's go to the next question again from Night Baron. Going forward, he says, would you be interested in doing research in esports psychology? And moreover, do you think analyzing the hard quantitative data could help improve a team or individual performance?
I think research in esports would be really, really interesting. And if it continues like this, become bigger and bigger phenomenon, then it certainly will be there will be data on esports, and there will be a need for research also in psychologic topics regarding esports. As of now, I don't see the use or the I don't see how you can do good research, good quantitative research, because there's just not enough data. There's not enough teams. There's not pro players to I think to get reliable and good data. But qualitative research would be interesting already now, to, for example, compare players and their success over some years, and how they deal with different types of problems, what their personality traits are, could also now be really interesting. But I don't think, I think in maybe in years there will be enough data to work with to do some solid quantitative research, which will also be much more reliable than qualitative research.
Okay. Interesting. So we still have to wait a little bit for this to really happen, I guess. Okay, we get another question, Apex Junior says, that's pretty similar to what I think, but I don't use the word frustration to define it. I called it an emotionally compromised state of mind, but I 100% agree with the rest. Okay.
Yeah, it's nice that you agree.
Emotion.
I mean, frustration probably isn't exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the word tilt is pretty new, right? I think the origin of it, how many years old? It's not that old, the word itself. And I think the beginning definition, when I looked it up the first time I heard it, was that you tilt your body forward so that you can type in the keyboard and find your teammates.
If I remember correctly, I think it derives from professional poker play, actually. The term tilt. That I don't know, maybe you like tilt your head if you have bad cards or something, but I think it got it came from there. But right. I mean, tilting forward to
type, man. It made sense for me at that time.
Yeah.
I was like, I catch myself.
Certainly, the broad usage of the word tilt in gaming is pretty new, and I think it's really exciting that us gamers have our own
Yeah, we have our
language
own word.
that all of the noobs can't understand.
We're so special. We're special little snowflakes. All right. Poker popularized it, they say. Okay.
Oh, it comes from pinball? Holy shit.
Apparently, yeah, it comes from pinball.
That's super interesting. I didn't know this.
Pinball and poker. Okay, that's pretty cool. All right. Whew, I think it is sometimes difficult to deal with tilt. Even I am a pretty positive person in general, and you know, if you watch the streams, I usually never flame. I always try to stay positive, but it just gets so hard when you play 5 games in a row, and your teammates are inting or they actually flame. They're toxic, so it is hard to deal with it sometimes. And yeah, next time I'm just gonna call Benny. I'm gonna be like, dude, please.
Just take a break. If you it's so important to know that everyone probably not a single player in a league that's taking it seriously and that never tilted. So yeah, maybe just take a break after you notice that you are really tilted.
Take a break, guys. That's the key word, I guess. I mean, if there's nothing to talk about anymore, if you guys don't have any questions, I would actually be, or Benny, if you want to talk about something else right now, we can keep talking. But I've been super happy how this has gone. Went much better than expected. I already expected this to go nicely, but this has just been so cool. A really amazing experience for me. Thank you so much for being here, Benny.
Thanks a lot for having me. It was great fun for me as well.
Here's his Twitter, boys. Go over, give him a follow. That would definitely help him out as well, or make him happy.
Yeah,
all right.
For sure. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Interesting in some way.
Okay, I would say we can call it a day. Thank you, Benny, again. We're gonna close Discord here. I'm gonna say goodbye to everybody. Well, actually, we can do this together. Thank you so much for being around. If you enjoyed the stream, make sure to leave a follow. Maybe join the Discord. You know, I'm a League of Legends streamer. I love playing the game, and I stream a lot. So it was really cool to have Benny today. Explain a few things. You know, now I can always say I talked to a sports psychologist. I know how it's done.
Yeah, thanks for listening, guys. Follow this guy on Twitch. He's great. And yeah, maybe until next time.
Thank you guys so much. Bye bye. See you next time.
See you guys.